I know all of you are just itching to watch another hub video, but I did get the upgraded plates here for the DT Swiss hub, so I'm going to put them in, but I'm going to go through the process that they recommended, including using the grease that they supplied here. Hello, welcome to Shad Live. So, as I stated already, I got this kit from DT Swiss, so I want to show you what's in it. So they give you the 2 plates, they give you the lubricant, and they give you new springs. So probably save the springs. I don't think I need to put new ones in there. I mean, the hub's basically brand new, so it seems kind of weird to replace the springs. But these plates here, I'm just calling them plates because I don't know what else to call them, but they're a higher engagement. So let's take them out and show them to you. Okay, so these are the new plates. You can see that they have more grooves, and of course you can't see that because I don't have the ones out of the hub yet, but I will take those out and then we'll compare them so you can see the difference. But this is probably one of the easiest upgrades that I've ever really had to do, especially when you think about the fact that we're upgrading like internal components of the hub, and it's super easy. And I already have a video, and that's kind of why I was joking at the beginning. This is like my 3rd video now taking apart a hub in just the last couple of weeks. But yeah, let's go through this process and follow exactly what DT Swiss recommends for doing this. Okay, now that I looked at how they want this installed, I now have a name for these plates that I've been calling them. They're called a star ratchet. So yes, I guess actually going and looking at DT Swiss and figuring out what the proper name is probably an important thing to do, right? So star ratchet is what these plates are called. So we'll call them star ratchets from now on, and let's get into it. Okay, here we go. So before I take this apart, let's hear the clicks. You can kind of see how much movement there is before it engages. So the whole idea of doing this is to get more engagement. So let's go ahead and take this apart. I've done it a bunch of times, especially in previous videos. So we take that cap off, put it aside, grease side up so I don't get the crap from my bench on the grease, which would then end up in my hub. Now you pull the hub body off. You just pull it straight off. There's a spring in there, so you just want to be careful to make sure the spring doesn't go spring and shoot off somewhere. But, you know, if you're slow like this, it might come loose like that, right? And then it's right there. So just be a little aware of that. So we're going to put that spring back in there. Again, setting it on the bench face up. Here are the original star ratchets. I'm not going to say old because this is not old. This is like a brand new wheel. So basically been ridden on once. So here they are, right? So let's compare this engagement, put that over there, to the new engagement. So here's the new one and here's the old one, and you can see, let's make sure it's in focus, that this one has a lot more engagements on it, a lot more ratchets than this one, right? So that's basically how this works. It's really simple when you think about it. So let's put this one over there. You definitely don't want to mix and match them. That would probably be weird. Now we have this special grease. I'm going to stick that one on the bottom. This special grease, and they literally call it special grease. Kind of funny. And there's a lot of grease already in here. Again, this is a new hub, so I don't need to replace the grease or anything or do a bunch of cleaning. And we're just going to put a little tiny bit. They say you don't need much. They don't really specify how much you should use. They just say you don't need much. Just kind of funny. But basically, put it on there. Mix it around, kind of give it a look and see. Yep, that's pretty good. It's all over. So, and again, there's already grease in the hub. So now we just need to put it back together. That spring is in there, make sure it's in there. So if it does come out, the narrow side goes towards the star ratchets and the wider side goes into the free hub, right? And because there's like grease in there, it just kind of sticks in there. The grease does make doing this a little easier. And then we want to put this on there. And so it just slid on again, and I was kind of hoping, like, if it doesn't go on super easy, you just want to turn it and gently push down, and it'll eventually just all go together. But every time I'm doing this, it just slides right on, so I can't really show that. And then we want to put the cap back on, and boom, it's all back together now. So we'll do the same test here, and there's a lot more frequent clicks, and you can see that I can't move this very far before it hits the next engagement. So that is the whole point of adding this higher engagement is you just have more catches, more ratchets, more engagement, however you want to say it. And this will go all the way to where your crank set is, so how much your crank has to move. And it'll depend on what gear you're in and all of that. I'm going to post a link in the not in the comments, in the description of what DT Swiss talks about with the engagements. And one of the big things you want to pay attention to is how the suspension works on your bike. If your suspension distance from your bottom bracket to your rear axle as you go into suspension, if it gets longer, right, then it's going to pull on the chain, and if you have a high engagement hub, you're going to actually kind of lock up your suspension and not allow your suspension to freely move. And they describe all of this in very specific detail. That'll be in the description if you're curious about it. What's interesting is I don't really know much about the suspension on the Spectral or how it works, right? So right now I have that Industry 9 hub with like 100 and some points of engagement, like almost double this, right? So it'll be interesting to see if I feel a difference, and if I do, I'll definitely want a lower engagement. And even with this amount of engagement, if I still feel it affecting the suspension, I can always go back to the original setup. So there might be a reason why these were in there in the first place. We don't know yet, but I'll find out and let you know. So there you have it. What's interesting about this kind of thing is even myself, I like get afraid to go in there and start taking things apart. And it's simply because I've done it before with other things, and many years ago, and then they would like fall apart or come apart, and I wouldn't be able to put them back together. So there is a little bit of fear when you start diving into this kind of stuff. Thankfully, in this modern day and age, you could just look things up on the internet before you start diving in to doing stuff and know what you're getting into ahead of time. But yeah, this is like so easy, so simple, nothing to be afraid of. I mean, this is at a level where almost anybody could do it, right? So you do need to know how to take the cassette off. You might not have to take the cassette body off, or the cassette off the cassette body. It's actually, if you left the cassette on there, you could just lift the whole thing off of there. So you could do it that way too, and not take the cassette off. But I would say if you're starting to monkey with this kind of stuff here and get into this stuff, you should know things before that. Like taking off a cassette is something that you should really know how to do before you start diving into deeper level mechanics like this. So there you have it. I'm kind of stoked about this. I like doing little upgrades, and this was a really inexpensive one. I'm kind of looking forward to maybe doing the upgrade on the rear shock on my Spectral 125. We'll see if I can get the parts. That one is going to be a little more challenging. I've already watched videos on it. I appreciate your support for my channel. Please like and subscribe. Peace. I promise I'm done with hubs for a while now. Promise. Pinky swear.